I wouldn't go quite as far as saying spring has sprung, but spring is definitely springing, which is why I'm feeling really inspired to do a spring sewing project. So you may be thinking, wait, that is exactly the same green as the room, and you are completely correct. It is a cotton linen mix and it is a light green, but actually when you look very closely, you will realize it's got yellow and blue, very thin little stripes in it. So it's got a little bit of texture to it. It is, I'd say, pistachio colored. It's really pretty and it's so soft, and I washed it with the tallow and ash pistachio washing liquid, and oh my god, it smells so good. I actually got that trial set. This is not sponsored, by the way. I got the trial set and I was just kind of like, pistachio sounds fine. I need to pre-wash this. And I am obsessed. I've actually found myself coming back into this room just to sniff the fabric, which Jack said was a little bit weird, but I'm obsessed with the smell. So I've actually bought the whole set now with the fabric spray, so I can just spray it on everything because I love it. Along with the green fabric, I also got myself some white fabric. So this is, I think, a cotton that has a bit of a self stripe to it and one of my hairs on it. Great. It's just plain and pretty and has a little bit of detail to it. So this is what we're going to be working with. So now I already asked you guys on Instagram because I wasn't really sure what I actually wanted to do. Now that I've washed the fabric and it's really soft and nice, I want this to be an everyday wear dress. I want to be able to wear this as much as possible this spring. So then I was like, I could make a Letty dress, but then also, wow, yeah, I could make another Letty dress. So that's not overly exciting. And then I thought, you know what this color is? This is the Anne of Green Gables color that Anne constantly wears that looks really good on her. Doesn't mean it will look good on me, but I just saw it. I was like, this is such a great match. And I was really feeling it. So I went through all of her looks, but I couldn't really find anything that was really properly worth recreating. But what I got stuck on is those aprons the kids wear when they go to school. So because I've got these Pinafore dresses, and you guys know I wear a lot of Pinafore dresses, and they're so versatile. I can wear them with jumpers in winter, with blouses in summer, without anything underneath if it actually ever gets really hot, which luckily it doesn't very much in Scotland. But I just love a good Pinafore. So I was then thinking, instead of using my normal Pinafore pattern or making it like an over-the-top Edwardian Pinafore, I could make it a Pinafore inspired by the Anne of Green Gables kits that go to school. So the ones that are absolutely formless, the white ones they just wear over their nice dresses, but I'll make it from this fabric. And I actually saw a creator on Instagram who I follow. I'll put her profile here. She made a very similar Pinafore in that style, and I have been obsessed with this for ages. It's gonna have a little square neckline, some ruffles up here, and then the entire thing is just gonna be completely loose. You guys know me, I need to have some waist definition. So I'll make it super loose, which means I can wear it a lot of different ways, but I'll add a waistband to it so that I can tie it and fit it to myself, so it will actually have this Edwardian silhouette. But then also, if I don't feel like it, I can just wear it without anything. So versatile, and means I can wear it with a corset, without a corset, completely naked, with a jumper, anything I want. And that is very good because this fabric is lovely and I want to wear it as much as possible. So making the garment versatile helps me with that. That means we can use this fabric for making a blouse with it. So I am super excited about this because it gives me the opportunity to make something green, to make another blouse, because as you know, I am kind of on the quest of making more blouses currently. So, and this smells so good. So I am absolutely hyped up about this project, and I hope you guys are too. So let's go straight over to figuring out what we're actually cutting out here. Welcome to our first day of sewing. Today we're going to tackle the Pinafore, and I don't have a pattern for it, but I know that it's just going to consist of rectangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Christmas wrapping paper, I'm going to cut out some rectangles, place them on my mannequin and see how they fit. My idea is that I'm just going to have one strip for the yoke, then I'll have 2 strips for the straps, but those ones I want to have in such a way that I fold them. So this one here will be 2 separate pieces sewn together. These ones I'll fold so that the seam is on the outside, and then I can put a little ruffle in here. At the back I'll have another strap that's like this one here, and then I just have a rectangle coming out of that, which eventually leads into ruffles. That is what I'm currently thinking of doing. Let's get out the wrapping paper and let's do some drafting. I found the Christmas wrapping paper. It was not where I expected it to be. It was very high up on a shelf in that cupboard, which is because Jack Doesn't necessarily do much in the household, which is because ever since I started working on my PhD thesis from home, I've been basically a housewife, which, as you know, I quite enjoy. I find purpose in doing the household. So I've just been doing everything. And sometimes Jack suddenly gets the idea that he should be doing something as well, which I encourage. So in this case, he decided to clean out the cupboard that's right behind me, which is accessible from the living room. It's kind of similar to this cupboard here. And he has built himself a racing simulator in there. You know, that's the thing with husbands, right? You gotta love them, but also, why? So we have a racing simulator set up now in this cupboard, and all of the paint was moved over into this cupboard, and then all of the things that were in this cupboard were moved around to make space for the paint. So nothing is where it's meant to be. But anyways, we found the wrapping paper and I cut out some rectangles. So these are by no means the sizes I need, but I just thought one that kind of goes here. And then I've got another one which looks like this. I folded it and that will kind of go here. But just from holding it onto me, I think they're already just too big. Need something that's a little bit more dainty. So I will adapt the sizes, pin them to my mannequin and see what looks right. And also one more thing I want to be very clear about, because I know that you guys have been following this for a while. Yes, Jack hung a monitor into the cupboard. Yeah, there's, again, no wall is safe from him when it comes to hanging monitors. Maybe I'll just show you a little clip of what the room currently looks like. Just wow. Just wow. That is all I can say. So it's not necessarily something I would show a visitor when they first come into our flat and I'd be like, you want to see our racing sim setup? If it keeps him entertained and I can knit in peace, then so be it. Okay, I'll cut out some more pieces and pin it all together. It might be a shock, but it needs to be a little bit wider, I think. If it's like this, there's still so very much shoulder. I mean, this also has a little bit of shoulder padding, but I think it needs to be hitting just about the shoulder seam here. So maybe it needs to be like 3 centimeters wider. And now we need to figure out the size of the ruffle, which is not going to be as easy because I won't be able to gather the paper, so we'll just have to estimate it a little bit. I am slowly morphing into my true form, which is a Christmas gift basically, but I think that will do. I don't want anything too extreme. I also want them to be curved off right here. I think that just gives me the right amount of shoulder squareness that I'm looking for, because as you know, I like my shoulders to look as square as possible despite having very slopey shoulders. So this will do the job even when the things I wear underneath don't have a poofy sleeve. Okay, I'm quite confident that this is going to not be a disaster. Working out is maybe a bit of a strong word, but it's not going to be a disaster. I'm happy with what it looks like. I'm just a little bit worried that the straightness of the actual pinafore is going to be a little bit too square, but we'll deal with that in the future. For now, we're going to cut this out. Okay, so we've cut everything out, everything's on interfacing, so now it's a matter of assembling things. The way I'll do this is I will sew my ruffles together, outside in, inside out, and twist them around so that the outside is on the outside, iron them down. Does that make sense? Let's get started. So we've got our little ruffles right here, and I have prepared the flaps and I have ironed the undone edge inside so that when I sew everything together it doesn't kind of like get messy, but it's already folded at the right spot. So now I need to gather this into this. So I think it looks super cute. I love a good shoulder ruffle. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I was very briefly considering putting some ribbons on it as well, because you know I love a good ribbon. But I felt like even though this would add some interest to it having a little bit of a shiny ribbon, I actually love the fabric so very much and how natural it looks. So I just felt like probably this is a better look because it just really lives off having this natural linen look. What's next? Gonna give this a little bit of an iron. I'm gonna continue with our fabric. So the idea is that I'll just use an entire width and I will gather it into my yoke. And then I will just kind of sew shut the side seams, put on some ruffles, put in some side pockets, and that should be it. Not too difficult, hopefully. I say that now, but probably face a billion problems on the way. But it should actually be quite fabric saving, I think, because I don't have any curves. It's just like rectangles. The only thing we still need to consider is how long this pinafore is gonna be, because I want it to be rather long, but then I also want to have a ruffle on it, so a little bit of guesstimation, I guess. And the important thing here is actually to consider that when I wear it like this, so you can see, if I was to put in a waistband to gather it, it will pull in a little bit and shorten. So that is something we have to consider when cutting this out. So I originally said the main bit of the pinafore would be a square, but I decided that wasn't gonna work. So I ended up cutting it at an angle to the side seam after all. This is what it looks like now. Just because there was way too much fabric to be gathered into the yoke, but also I just felt like the side seam needed to be longer than the front length for it to fit properly. So I hope this will remedy that. What else have I done? I've also cut a little bit of bias binding, because this way I can then finish up the armhole. Now we are going to gather this into the yoke. Let's go. So I just took my lunch break and I was out with Archie because I needed a bit of a break, because I think I don't like the design. So I needed a bit of a break to think about what to do with it, but I've come up with a conclusion. So as it currently stands, it's very bulgy, and the way it sits around the bust, so you've got the little yoke here, and it just bulges out. And even with the waistband, when you fix that, it's just really bulgy. It's not something I think I will reach for. I think this is also why I don't ever settle for a Sophie Hatter dress design, because it's just too bulgy. I feel like because I've got quite a bit of a bust, it just does too much. So here's what we're gonna do. So I picked out the bodice pattern for the pinafore we made in autumn, because that is something I'm actually wearing quite a lot, especially without a corset. I really like that one. The kind of like yoky bit we've already made, I do really like. I just don't like the bust section. So I think if I just add this underneath the yoke, kind of like here, to go over the bust, and then from then it gathers out, I think that's gonna be much better, and I think I'm gonna be much happier with that. So now I need to kind of try to Frankenstein this together, and I think, so I've already measured this, because the rest is up here. So this is what I need, and then I've got the pin here because the yoke is quite small, so I won't be needing it to go all the way here, just like that, and then I'll kind of make it go into the armhole, so the armhole's going to be a little bit big. And I've got the tiniest bit of fabric left, but it's going to be just about enough to do that, so lucky us. And I think that's gonna solve the issue I have with the pattern not fitting properly. It looks actually really cute when it hangs on my mannequin, but I just feel like because I'm quite round, I feel like adding this bulgy bodice to it just will make me feel like a balloon. So I don't want to do that. And if I did it, because I said I really like this fabric, I want to wear it all the time. So I want to make something that I will enjoy wearing. So let's try this and cut out the pieces, and then I'll just use the already gathered bits and put them into the bodice instead of into the yoke. And it will be too long, so I'll have to cut some off, but I think even though I've made the side seam angular, it's not properly fitting the way I imagined it to be, so the hem is kind of not great. What I've done is I've attached my gathers to the bodice. I've also added a few pin tacks just around the neckline right here because it looked so very boring. And it's very long currently, which you can't see, but it's kind of giving Elizabeth Bennet walking through the mud, which is a vibe, but not quite the one I'm going for. I look very tall in it because it's so long, but also because of the way I cut the little yoke. It's quite narrow in comparison to how the original pattern for this pinafore was, so it feels kind of like I've got massive shoulders. I don't know what to do because everything's cut out. So now I can't even go back and make like an Edwardian skirt from it or something. I don't know. Okay, so I moved everything up by like an inch or so. And I think I prefer it. So it now actually looks more like a loose pinafore over like a weirdly fitting dress, because I think the armholes were also way too low before. I mean, I think once it's a little bit shorter and it's got the ruffles, it will have, yeah, I mean, you can't see it, I'm just seeing it in the mirror currently, but I think because it's so very long, like, let me show you, it doesn't look at all like what I had in mind. But that's just because I lowered everything. So if this was shorter and then had a ruffle, it will look like a childish pinafore again. Hopefully. This isn't really going the way I imagined it. And now I've got pins falling out of me. I really like this fabric. What if I've ruined it? Maybe I should have just made a Letty dress. I just found the answer that we've been looking for. I think this lace right here saves everything. What do you guys think? So I think this might have saved the entire project, because with the lace on, I'm now looking in the mirror going, oh, that's nice. Whereas before I was just like, oh, I hate it. So yeah, the lace literally saved the day. So maybe I just change into something more comfy and I continue sewing a little bit, because I actually need to get this finished, but I was just too grumpy to continue. So yeah, so I'll just change and continue sewing because we've got a deadline, and maybe eat something and stop being grumpy. Ta-da! Look at that. So I got myself a Gustav girl dinner t-shirt. I've been wanting this for ages. I've seen it online and I was just like, I need it. Because I'm a really big fan of girl dinner. I like just eating little snacks and bread and dips for dinner. I also really like Gustav. So I think I prefer Gustav over Verso. I also got myself a little pecan apple crumble muffin, because I feel like being a girl is just the constant struggle between I should eat nothing and I should eat everything. Oh, I'm crumbling everywhere. So hopefully this will cheer me up. And then I can do a little bit more sewing, get this pinafore finished. Maybe not today, but eventually. So let's do some sewing. So here we are now. I have finished the underarm seams by putting some facing along there, so you can see it looks fine. I'm going to put on the lace, and I think then I'm going to call it a day for today. But that's kind of where I'm at. I also added these little straps, as I mentioned, which are sewn into the side seam. And then a little bit further down, I've got my pocket. So everything's coming together. What a roller coaster today. So my last seam in green, and then I'm going to change over to something more white so that I can stitch on my lace. And then I'm going to put everything onto my mannequin to hang out for the night so that I can cut it off nice and straight in the morning with a new and fresh day. So I said I was gonna continue tomorrow, and to you it might seem like it's only been mere seconds, but in reality, it's been 2 weeks. So I kind of lost the will to live with this project and spend a lot of time dwelling on all the things I don't like about it. Kind of considered maybe not continuing, but then I thought would be a shame, and I do still really like the top of it, and I am still somewhat hoping that if I was to cut it shorter, give it a little frill at the bottom, and just look at it in the right mindset, that I might like it after all. Because I have been wearing my Pinafore dresses a lot lately with the sudden arrival of spring, and I could use another one that doesn't have plates, but I'm wondering whether the reason it looks a little bit boring and not so great is because it doesn't have any plates. Plates as in like the pattern of the fabric. So we will not give up, we will continue, and we will make a blouse for it, because I do really want to have a blouse from this lovely fabric that is very Edwardian, that I can wear for shootings and for day-to-day wear. Also, just in case you're wondering throughout the day why I've got the weirdest blush placement on my nose, that is not an artistic choice, that is actually breakout. I have recently come off birth control, because I don't know if this is too much information, but I just didn't like taking it. I feel like I've taken birth control most of my life and then at some point stopped taking it to see what it would be like. And I much preferred it, but I got really bad acne, which I had when I was a teenager. So I went back onto a different birth control, which I absolutely hated. And I took it for 1.5 years. And the doctors were like, one day it's gonna be fine, but it never was fine. It was really weird. So stopped taking it abruptly because I was like, you know what, I've had enough. So now I go through weird mood cycles, and this was made when I was just about to go on my period, so I was really sad about it. Now I'm past my period, I've got the breakout, but I am a little bit more cheerful. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that means, what does that actually mean? This is my ruffle. I will sew this into a circle. I know in previous videos I've talked about not liking doing ruffles in circles. I still don't like it, but in this case I have to do it because I just had to get everything together first to see whether I liked it, which obviously I didn't. But yeah, it's also been hanging out for 2 weeks now, which means that I can cut it off, and it better be straight because it had a lot of time to hang out. Doesn't mean I'm gonna cut it off straight though. Yeah, I think, okay, in which order we're gonna do that. Cutting it off, first plan of action, then making the ruffle, attaching the ruffle, hemming everything, and then trying it back on and seeing how we feel about it. I think that is a good plan. A testament to how great a seamstress I am. I started sewing on, like, I've been on the same side sewing, and now my stitch that I started out with is here. And I'm ending up here. So I clearly twisted something up along the way. Whoops. So I have finished the hem and the ruffle and actually the entire dress. It just needs ironing now. You can't see the bottom yet, but I feel like shortening it and giving it the ruffle really made a huge difference. Before it kind of just looked like a bin, and now it looks like a bin with a ruffle. With that, we now have to do the blouse. So I'm quite excited about this blouse, but I am basically planning to make it exactly the same way I made the Edwardian blouse a few videos past. So I don't think I'm going to go too much into detail because I have a feeling this video is already quite long considering how much time I spent drafting this up. So I'm just going to cut it out, do everything exactly as before, and then I'll see you again when the blouse is done. And that's it. I think I've already shared quite a lot of thoughts on this, so I'm not really sure what to tell you now. But basically, I think the gist is it didn't really turn out the way I envisioned it. And with the way I did this bit up here, I just thought it would turn out more pinafore-y, as in like an apron, and less like a dress. So it doesn't really work the way I imagined it. I don't hate it by any means. I still think, especially as the fabric is really lovely, it is probably going to be a dress I will reach for, not necessarily for big events, but maybe for just like hanging out in the house. Maybe if we take Archie to the beach, because I did end up making it quite short. Again, my camera cable is obstructing me here from actually showing you the proper dress. So I don't mind it. I just don't think it turned out as well as it could have turned out. But it does kind of look like a shapeless child's apron as the girls in Anne with an E would have worn. So I guess the goal has been accomplished. So yeah, I am happy that I'm done with this project because I have honestly been putting this off for so long, so I can start focusing on other projects. And I may have bought this exact fabric again to make a Letty dress from because I really love the fabric. I just think I would prefer to have something from this fabric that is a little bit more boring, a little bit more safe, something that I will reach for all the time. But then also saying that with the Letty dresses, I will only wear them with a corset. So maybe this is then the non-corset option for like if I'm still in the mood for this color. That just brings us to the end of the video. I'm sorry I've been so mopey the entire time, but then again, this is like the honest truth about sewing, because I feel like I just see people making things and everything just always looks so amazing, and I'm like, how do you guys make such great things? So I'm just keeping it real by telling you that not every single project is the best thing I've ever made. Sometimes I just make something and I go, well, that's okay. And that's fine, even though it is a little bit soul destroying, but that's fine. That is the process. And I'm sure the next thing I make will be amazing again. And I will tell you all that I'm the best seamstress in the world. And that it's the best thing I've ever made. And that I'm so proud of myself. And it's not like I'm not proud of. Like nothing's wrong with this, genuinely speaking. Like I haven't done a bad job constructing it. I just didn't make something that was for me, I guess. And also I do always feel like when I wear these shapeless things, I mean, this is something I know. This is something I knew as I was making this. These shapeless things are never something I make and then go, wow, this is amazing. But in the end, they are something that when I don't wear a corset and I just need to throw something over, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna wear today. So it is what it is, it's fine. And I hope you still enjoyed this video, watching me struggle through the process. I hope you learned something from it, if that only is that you should make this strap up here a little bit bigger if you want to make a pinafore. But either way, I have also made a new blouse. So the blouse was obviously made the same way as I made my Edwardian blouse some videos past, just because I really like the pattern and I just wanted another blouse like it. So it was a safe bet, but then maybe that's what saved the project in the end. So for my next project, I've got some ideas, but I haven't actually finalized them yet as I'm speaking to you. So I will be as surprised as you will be to see what comes next after this. Either way, I am very glad that you are all here watching my videos, allowing me to rant and craft and do whatever it is I do in these videos. And as you're watching this, I am soon to have my interview for the job that I told you about in my last video. So I will probably be editing lots of stuff for that interview as well, because I need to prepare a little social media campaign for it to show that I know what I'm doing. So lots to do. Obviously still have my PhD to finish up as well. But for now, we keep sewing, we keep crafting, we keep knitting, keep doing all the things that bring us joy just because we can. And I hope you have a lovely day, you have a lovely spring, and that all the dresses you make are exactly as you imagined them. And I will see you in my next video. So bye bye.